remember the days of the old schoolyard? We used to laugh a lot. Oh, don't you remember the days of the old schoolyard?
I love me some Pokemon. Red and Blue to X and Y, Kanto to Kalos. But as with any other intellectual property that's been around for over a decade and is wildly popular with a wide age demographic, the fanbase is the worst thing about it. I'm not talking about everyone, of course, but it has some of the most childish, whiny, self-entitled, impatient, nostalgia-blinded, ignorant wankers on the planet. I guess that's to be expected from an open-ended series that's been around for as long as it has. Some people just can't stop living in the past. All sorts of people of different ages get into the series at different points, resulting in the inevitable white noise of arguments as to which games were the high and low points of the series and which Pokemon aren't real Pokemon. As someone who got plenty of enjoyment out of each of the current games, and can take or leave certain Pokemon from any generation, I get pretty damn tired of these nostalgic dick-waving contests that never go anywhere. But that doesn't even make up the majority of some of the crap I hear these people say. In response, I'm going to pick up a variety of remarks I've seen time and again within this poisonous community, and respond to a few of them, because someone has to call them out on this shit. Pokemon hasn't been good since insert game here. Let's get the obvious one out of the way first, shall we? Like I said, people get into the series with different games, and that usually cements their opinion. It's all a matter of perspective. You'd like to believe it's because they find some features of the gameplay aren't as good as previous entries to the series, but nope. I don't like some of the Pokemon in the new games. Ergo, every single Pokemon in the new games are shit. Ergo, the games in their entirety is shit. What kind of little bitch do you have to be that the entire experience is ruined for you because you don't like a few lousy Pokemon? I'm no fan of Trubbish or Vanillite. They're adorable, but the concepts are still pretty damn stupid. And you know what? I don't care, because Black and White are still great games. Hell, Black 2 and White 2 were contenders for my favourite games in the series. You know what my least favourite generation is? Gen 4. I'm not a fan of the art style, saving takes 1,000 years, and a lot of the side activities are asinine, and the general gameplay is ploddy and slow. Do I hate it for the Pokemon it introduced? Of course not, that's a stupid reason to hate it. Each subsequent Pokemon game has made some great strides in terms of functionality and gameplay. Dismissing all of the stuff that actually matters simply because you don't like Klefki is just childish. Kids these days will never experience battling someone through a link cable. Yeah, well they're lucky, link cables were shit. They were like a meter long, loose fitting, and leave the two of you wide open to some dick to come along, ripping it out and ruining the whole thing. Yeah, I've had this experience a few times before. Considering the alternative can allow you to trade or battle a mate from the other side of the room with nothing to worry about short of the battery running out, I'll take wireless connections any day, thanks. And what's with people reminiscing about crap like this anyway? Kids these days don't even know what floppy disks are. If you know what these two have to do with each other, you're awesome! Who cares? This is obsolete technology. Did your parents' tangents about how they used to use typewriters really enthrall you enough that you wanted to gain your own sense of smug superiority from bragging to younger generations about shit that was relevant when you were a kid? You're turning into your parents before you've even hit 20. Remember when the anime was actually good? Ha ha ha! Good one. GameFreak needs to make a game with all the regions and all the Pokemon. Okay, this is one in particular that really gets me, because anyone with even a basic understanding of game design should know why this wouldn't work. Pacing is a good place to start. How would progression work? Would you start in a region of choice and go to another after beating the Pokemon League? Yeah, because your overpowered Pokemon would totally make that fair. They could take your Pokemon away each time you go to a new region. Well, that just destroys all momentum and sense of progression right there. Could you increase the level cap to accommodate all the extra regions? Well, that's going to cause all sorts of balance issues. How would you incorporate a story for a character travelling to each region? Would all the different HMs acquired between regions mean backtracking up the arse to go to certain areas and obtain certain items? Would there really be a point in trading if the only thing to get out of it was evolving a paltry amount of Pokemon, since everything else could just be found in the wild? What about pricing things when you've likely accumulated an embarrassing amount of money in-game? How much storage space would this game require? How long would it take to make? It'll probably cost a lot of money. What about when they inevitably have new ideas for games? Do they release these as separate games or integrate them as DLC several gigabytes above comfortable? No sane mind could possibly think this would ever work. Why would you want it anyway? To get all the Pokemon? You can get hundreds of Pokemon from each generation in the games as it is. And there is such thing as a game being too long, you know. The average Pokemon game takes 20 to 30 hours to finish if you pace yourself. This monstrosity would be so painfully long that most players would get bored and stop playing after 1 or 2 regions. Quality over quantity. Oh, but you're able to go to Johto and Kanto in Gold and Silver. Yeah, so what? Do you remember what Kanto was like in those games? It was nothing but a secondary location. Outside of battling the additional 8 gym leaders, there's nothing worthwhile to do there. You'd honestly be better off just playing the individual games one after another. Even that would have more natural flow than this train wreck of a concept. Pokemon has been ruined by Smogon and the competitive battling scene. Okay, saying this as someone who also ignorantly stood in this camp less than a year ago, competitive is not mandatory. EV training, breeding for perfect IVs, ideal natures, and special egg moves, no one is tying you to a chair and forcing you to play this way. A lot of people have been playing Pokemon the regular way for years, and want to change things up a bit by selectively training their Pokemon in special ways to make sure that they can reach their full potential. Some people want to get more out of the games than what the post-game content has to offer, so they competitively battle each other online. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to play through the games just for the fun of it without paying any mind to natures, movesets, or EVs, there's nothing wrong with that either. Just play the game the way you want to. No one has to tell you the way you should be playing. Okay? Okay. They should remake Gen 1 again with the X and Y engine. They've already remade the original games, you jackass. Do you really just want them to remake Red and Green again and again each time they release a new handheld system? Is this really all you want? The exact same experience that the originals offer but with upgraded technology and nothing else? Look, I love the Gen 3 games. Am I excited to see all the advancements and changes that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire will bring with them? Yes. Do I want more remakes of them every time Nintendo releases a new handheld? No! I don't want to keep playing the same game with more bells and whistles. I want new regions, new Pokemon, new characters, new stories. Let's not have this franchise do a new Super Mario Bros. Pokemon gets enough flack for repeating the formula as it is. They should remake Gen 1 again with the X and Y engine, but keep all those other crappy Pokemon out of it. I am displeased to say I have seen this remark multiple times now. A brand new souped up version of Pokemon Red and Green but with no compatibility with any previous Pokemon games? Yeah, that sounds like $1 million concept. If you want to play a Pokemon game with only the original 151, then feel free to take a trip back to the late 90s because it already fucking exists! There are over 700 Pokemon now. You're going to have to either accept that or just keep playing Red, Blue and Yellow for the rest of your life. And look, I know I've been ragging on it a lot, but understand I don't hate Gen 1. I just find that it falls flat compared to later entries, and people that think they legitimately hold up to this day are just fooling themselves. When are GameFreak going to remake Yellow? Or Crystal? And how come they're not remaking Emerald? Ugh. How stupid are you people? These third release games were basically director's cut editions, the exact same game but with a few afterthoughts stuck on. I mean, yeah, Fire Red and Leaf Green didn't have the thing where you could obtain all 3 starters or have Pikachu following you, but so what? These were minor additions. The Crystal argument is the one that really irks me. Why didn't they remake Crystal? Because everything that Crystal introduced was already added in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you fucking idiot! The Battle Tower, or Battle Frontier in this case, the subplot with Usain and Suicune, the different battle music when you encountered the legendary beasts, it's all here. Did you even play the remakes? And yeah, Emerald isn't getting remade either. You're just getting Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. They'll likely still have Scott, the Battle Frontier, and some form of main story relevance for Rayquaza, so chill out already. Oh, but you still think they should have just remade all 3 of them? Then answer me this. There are 2 versions that are practically identical, bar a few small details, and a third one that is the same as the other 2, but with a whole load of extra content. Which one do you think everyone is going to buy? Yeah, that's what I thought. Whew, it's good to have finally gotten that off my chest. As much as I love certain intellectual properties, the internet serves as a daily reminder that fanbases can cause more damage to a series' reputation than anything else. I mean, just take one look at the cancerous mass that takes up most of the Sonic fandom, or the perverted elitist neckbeards that ruin My Little Pony for the people that just want to enjoy it for the innocently adorable show that it is. That being said, I really shouldn't hate the Pokemon fanbase as a whole just because of the more vocal assholes hanging about. Although I might have to revise this in November after the inevitable wave of complaints from people about the Hoenn remakes having the sheer audacity to be anything more than a bit-for-bit retread of the originals with a new coat of paint. Hey, you know what's coming.